Hi, my name is Vivian and welcome. Today we are going to talk about mythical creatures, specifically Black mythical creatures. This will be a new series that I'm trying out, so hopefully you guys will be interested and excited to know more. The first one we will talk about today is vampires. Vampires are my favorite paranormal creatures, and we just finished celebrating Halloween, so I thought it was fitting to talk about vampires first. Now, there are tons and tons of vampire shows, vampire movies, and although they all have different storylines, they all seem to follow the same vampire lore that we all have heard over and over and over and over again. They have been overused to death. Just saying. So what do we typically know about vampires? We know that they're dead, that they like to drink blood, they have fangs, they're pale, they live forever, yada 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 yada. But I personally haven't seen a Black vampire profile that I am satisfied with yet. Maybe that makes me picky. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys agree with me or not. That's okay. But I just haven't seen one that I thought was cool or I actually like. But I haven't seen one that I am satisfied with yet. That's all I gotta say about that. So there's Blade, there's Queen Akasha from Queen of the Damned, although she was only in the movie for the last 30 minutes and she wasn't well developed, so I feel like she doesn't really count, but I mean, take what you can get, right? And there are others, and some hilarious ones. So even those stories still take from the same tired vampire lore that we're all so familiar with. And even after reading the summaries of some of these movies, I personally think their storylines are not really that good. So what characteristics will make the ideal Black vampire a really cool one, in my opinion? Well, first, let us talk about some of the vampires from African and Caribbean myths. So I did some research. There wasn't really much information out there, but I think there is enough that we can discuss in this video. Disclaimer, when I mispronounce some of these names, I apologize in advance. I am trying here. The first one we'll talk about is the Abonosonum. The Abonosonum is a vampire-like being. It belongs to the folklore of the Akan people from southern Ghana, as well as Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, and 18th century Jamaica. The Abonosonum has iron teeth, they have pink skin, long red hair, and iron hooks for feet. They live in trees and attack from above. So this is one source that describes the Abonosonum in this way. Another source that I found also describes them as more human-like, but with hooked feet and iron teeth. They feed mainly on those who dare to wander into their domain. They wait silently in the trees, waiting for an unsuspecting prey to wander into their territory, and then they'll rip their throats out. Wow, I said that way too casually. In another source, they also said that the Abonosonum can also attack people with their feet and actually drain the blood from their victims using their hooked feet. Next is the SASABONSAM. The SASABONSAM is like the Abonosonum. They are very similar but there are some slight differences. Honestly, I think they're probably the same monster, but I don't know, depending on the sources, there was one specific name and then another name, who knows. So the SASABONSAM has wings like bats. The myths of the SASABONSAM are well known throughout Ghana and Togo. They live in trees, just like the Abanasonam, and they also like to drain the bloods of their victims. These vampires look similar to bats, but they are said to have a human face and a human body, but they have very little arms and legs, but their wings are huge. They have a wingspan of 20 feet. And in some legends, the SASABONSAM also have horns and claws as well. So like the Abanasonam, they also have iron teeth, and they dwell in trees and attack from trees. These two vampires are very deadly and vicious. You wouldn't want to cross either one of them. Next is the Obayafo. The Obayafo is a vampire-like mythological creature coming from the folklore of the Ashanti. The Obayafo in some sources is also considered to be a witch. So like a witch, vampire in one kind of situation. In the folklore, the Obayafo is common and is known to inhabit people's bodies and control them. They are described as having shifty eyes and being obsessed with food. But when it comes to blood, they are picky eaters. So I think that's really cool that the Obayafo, the vampire, can eat food and also drink blood. That's cool. They won't eat blood that tastes bitter. So it's suggested to eat a lot of garlic so that if they do drink your blood, they won't like it and they will leave you alone, I guess. Or they may smell you from a mile away and know that your blood is full of garlic and they wouldn't want to eat you. They feed on fear and despair and also feed on the blood of children. But they also really like fruits and vegetables. When they're deprived of blood, they often suck the juices from fruits and vegetables to hold their hunger until they're able to feed again. They often hunt by transforming into a ball of blue light flying through the air. In some stories, they achieve this form by sloughing off their skin and reclaiming it later. And I think that is really cool. Like, that information is cool to play around with. So if you want to take that idea and play around with it, go ahead, because that would be really cool. Finally, these creatures can possess a mortal victim and bend it to their will. The Obayafo vampire, they really like to drink the blood of children. They'll drink anyone's blood, but children's blood is their favorite blood to drink. I'll say the Obayafo can be compared to as a plague. They like to attack crops. They like to suck out the juices out of fruits and vegetables, obviously, causing terrible blights, especially in cow crops. Anyone can be an Obayafo because, again, they can possess humans. But what does give them away is their shifty eyes and their obsession with food. Next is the ADZE'S. Now this one, I believe, I'm pretty sure I'm right. I really think that they created this myth to explain mosquitoes that go around and bite people and suck their blood. In southern Togo and Ghana, the Ewe people have a myth about the ADZE'S vampire. The ADZE'S is a type of vampire creature that can turn themselves into a firefly or an insect to feed before it goes back to its human form. Now that's cool. Also, they can turn themselves into any kind of insect to avoid being captured. It's very hard to capture them. They're very clever and agile. They can also feed on palm oil and coconut water. So, you know, it's kind of cool that these vampire examples can eat regular food and also drink blood. I'm sure that has been done before, but that is not typical in the vampire lore that we're all very familiar with. Although the ADZE can survive for a short while on palm oil and coconut water, they become very weak very fast when they do not feed on blood. So blood is their main life source. And if they're deprived of blood for too long, they can go on a rampage and just go nuts. The ADZE don't only just drink the blood of their victims, but they also eat their heart and liver. Like the Biafo, they also possess humans, and they also give the humans that they possess magic powers and also turn them into a vampire. So I also think that's really cool. But when they possess their victims, that is how they are able to communicate with others. But the kicker is that the person that they possess eventually becomes sick and dies. So they can literally hop from one person to another doing their thing. But when they possess the human, they also turn that human into a vampire, and then that human will start drinking people's blood and stuff. So, I mean, in this case, the vampire doesn't have to be dead to be a vampire. They could be possessed to be a vampire, which I think is really cool and something different. The ADZE'S weakness is that once they are captured, they turn back into human form automatically. And human form is where they can get killed, just like any human. So the only time that they are not able to be killed is when they're in their insect or firefly form, or when they're possessing someone. Also, a human that is a sorcerer can offer themselves willingly to the ADZE to become possessed, and then the ADZE can use their body to shapeshift into different forms. So it's like the ADZE is a vampire, can be a witch, can be a shapeshifter, all in one. And I think that will make a really powerful vampire. Plus, they are agile and very clever. It's very hard to capture them. But once they get captured, they are weak and basically they're dead. There is no way to protect against the ADZE. Your best bet of defeating them is to lure them in with palm oil and coconut water and set a trap to capture them so that they can turn into their human form, and then you can kill them. Now, some may say that these creatures aren't necessarily vampires because they're not described as the undead, meaning they didn't die at the hands of a vampire to become a vampire and come back to life as a vampire. But we have to remember that that is a lore from another culture. And honestly, when it comes to mythical creatures, I feel like there's not really any hard, fast rules. Anything can go, really. Who says a black vampire has to be dead to be a vampire? They could be cursed by a witch. They could be possessed, like the ADZE and the Obayafo that possess people and make them into vampires. They can eat regular food and thirst for blood. And this is why I like fiction, because you can take a concept, mix concepts together, and create something that is awesome. Yes, these creatures aren't really described as humans, but you can take a human vampire, and apply some of these cool characteristics to a black vampire. Like, take the ADZE, for example. I mean, if you guys didn't notice, that is my favorite. But take the ADZE, for example. They are shapeshifters. They can possess people and turn them into vampires, and they can eat regular food, well, coconut water and palm oil, and also drink blood. and they're hard to catch. Those are awesome characteristics to apply to a Black vampire, and also making the vampire a three-dimensional character and giving them a character arc. Like, I think, to me, that would be the ideal Black vampire, in my opinion. I'm not saying you can't use the old vampire lore that we've seen hundreds, cajillion, bajillion times, but you can take some things, mix things up, shake it around, and make something unique and different. But please, for the love of God, no matter what you decide to do, please do not describe your vampire as ashy. Okay, please. We do not need pale to be a description when you're describing your Black vampire. Just saying, I've seen some things online. That's all I gotta say there. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more videos from me about these type of topics and writing tips. Also, I do have some how to create your character profile worksheets in the description box below. Also, how to plot your novel worksheets in the box below. Go ahead and watch the next video here. I'll talk to you next time. Bye!